Welcome everybody to Overdriven, the ODRL podcast, episode 70. Made it 70, boys. As always, joined by Bren. What up, Bren?
I feel old.
Okay. Didn't ask. Um, and as always, joined by Hendrik Fan, aka Regular Show 48 on Twitch. What up, Hendrik?
Hello, hello.
How you doing? How you doing? All right, boys. This week was a road course madness week. Two different road courses. It definitely showed a difference in them. First time we've been to either of them. So it was definitely an interesting first impression. The trucks did phenomenal this week, even though it was a struggle, grass struggle, over there, but no issues. Very little issues here and there. NXT was pretty good this week. I don't agree with the poll being so low because it was a good race overall. And then Premiere had one of the best races of the year. It was I understand back in the pack it wasn't for road course racers. It wasn't racy for them. But that top three with 47, 12, and the winner Valley in the 5 was just phenomenal. I had a front row seat to it. I stopped on the side, so it wasn't an issue. Watched it just to be an admin, and it was a show. They traded the lead multiple times. Tire wear was it a factor? You had to save some. You had to go when you had tires and say make up some time. But it was great. It was to a point where everybody had a say in what road courses we go next season. I gave everybody a poll a month ago saying what road courses would y'all like if we're gonna shorten the road courses on the schedule, and Coda I think finished third in the ranking in the vote, and I'm like I don't know if I can say no to Coda after that battle. I just can't. It was that great. I don't know if that battle can be uh happen in Sonoma. I don't know if it can happen in the Glen in it. I don't know. It was just that great. Bren, I know you were up there for a little bit. You're not a great road course racer yourself. I understand you had an issue with the 24 late in the race, and that was a big talking point. But how did the race go overall for you?
Like you said, I was there, and I wasn't really there at the same time. Just rough. Stage 1 and Stage 2. Stage 2, I tried to capitalize on the restarts. I went as high as possible and was able to get inside the top 10. And then eventually, we had an incident in Turn 1 that eventually got me hooked, and no caution came out because relaxed yellows. And ever since that incident, Stage 3, had a solid restart, of course, but just dropped back. Came up behind Sterling. He was starting to lose positions. Got behind him. We came off the final corner. Something happened. He got loose or free. I was already on the gas. Ended up hooking him, spinning him, and after that incident, I mean, I was all out of sorts. Kept getting course cutting penalties. Honestly, it was probably the worst race I've had on a road course ever in any game, and it was depressing because Valley was winning the damn race, and I was over here lollygagging, hitting time course penalties every single lap. And honestly, me and Sterlo, I know I got into him, and it's really bad that I got into him, and that's an unfortunate incident. But I feel like this week, I feel like we got to bring our A game at New Hampshire because both of us, we have speed. It's just road courses this season, besides Watkins Glen, have been kind of rough. I don't understand why. Chicago's was better than Coda, but something is up with these road courses where I just can't figure them out.
How was
Throttle
the team
points.
meeting? How was the team meeting after the race with you and Sterlo?
If you want me to be honest, it's honestly, he's good on points, and we're teammates. It wasn't that stressful. I know what happened. He knows what happened. It's something that you move on as a team, because if you look at the team points, we're still winning, and that's all that matters. Plus, he's got a good gap this week, for the round of 12. So it isn't as consequential as it would have been if he was in the round of 4 or the round of 8. So he can move on from this incident. Whereas for me, I had to have a good finish, and I didn't capitalize this week, so I'm kind of disappointed in myself, and also ruined a teammate's race. So just not a good week in general.
Yeah, and so I think you got to focus on next week more importantly. But Hendrik, I know that you were able to race this premiere race Monday night, and I know it was different from the NXT side of things. What was it different for you going from NXT to the premiere side at the same road course?
Definitely a lot more harder to keep up with the front people for sure, but I did have different objectives for the 2 races. NXT, I wanted to see if I could truly compete with those guys because some of them I'm going to be competing with next season. And then the Premier guys, I just wanted to get a better feel for the Cup car. There wasn't a lot for me to gain from the Cup race besides just trying to learn more about it. I did run faster laps on the race on Monday, so I guess there's that. But it doesn't matter at the very end. I mean, I was a couple laps down anyways. But
Track time, that's all that matters sometimes. Getting track time and seeing what you can do, seeing if you can improve. And obviously, what you said, you did improve lap time, so you did something right. The competition's a whole lot steeper, as you said, so you weren't looking for a finishing result, you were just looking to improve yourself. And I think that's what you did, from my opinion.
Yeah, I wanted to
But
say
go.
that was the main difference that I saw. I think going into the weekend, I thought we were gonna have a lot more people that like had a lot more mistakes in that race than I thought there was gonna be, but the pace for like Coda was just a lot quicker than I expected. I expected a little bit more people to struggle, but honestly, with the mix of NXT guys who are really good at these road courses, and then you have Premier guys who are really good, like Sean. Obviously, Romeo has been improving on road courses as of late. We got Valley. A lot of these guys, they've improved on road courses, and this is where they're shining. And it was a lot more difficult for guys who aren't good on road courses, and that's mainly me, and I suck.
I wouldn't say you suck. It's a different style of racing. Just like not everybody's great at it. Not everybody gets luck, or everybody gets the shit in a deal at a play track. It's like, all right, the skill of a road course is, it separates, it separates good road courses from. You can't really like show up and be okay. You really have to put the time in to a road course and say, all right, this is what I can do. This is how I improve myself, and this is what it's a very difficult, it's a very niche thing. And these cars aren't designed to be road course cars. Especially a Coda, since it's an F1 track, it's not really designed to be a type of road course race that it is. But I enjoyed it I enjoyed it from top to bottom. I sat and watched both NXT and Premiere in the same spot. Premiere was greatly improved from the NXT side of things when it was called the racing stuff about it. But NXT had a great one too. I'm not gonna, I understand people don't like road courses and stuff like that, and they quote unquote this track sucks, blah blah blah. I thought it was a good track. It's what you make of the track. It's not every track can be the greatest track in the world. It's what you make of it. A lot of people complain about Chicago Street Course, and we had a great race there too. So it's like it's what you make of it. It's what the series that you're in, and you do the best you can, and you make of it. And I loved it. But NXT did a great job. Shout out Tyree for getting another victory and getting that even more playoff points added to his resume going into the next round. He did a great job. LS had a nice little battle with Andy up there. It was a great race overall, and it was a tough one. There was a lot more mistakes in NXT. I think we had 3 cautions in a span of 10 laps, so that marked off the time a little bit going to stage 3, and then we finished strong, probably with a 10 lap window in stage 3 to finish out the race. And The deserving race winner won. He pulled away, did the best he could, and came away with a victory. But let's talk about this Lime Rock. First time at Lime Rock. Hendrick, I'll
That's
ask
a
you.
fun track.
I understand that you didn't have the greatest time at Lime Rock yourself. You were frustrated in the practice. You were frustrated before the race. Uh, what was the frustration like in that race, and what did you think about the race overall? What it brought us? Yeah, copy, Hendrick.
Shit. Yeah. So I mean, I felt good in practice. I just don't like racing on road courses because
Yeah.
it takes a lot out of you. But in the race, I think what was really throwing me off was just the way that some people were choosing to make certain moves when it wasn't necessary. I know there was one point, it felt like that I was in a safe position. I was in the top 10, close to the top 5, and then all of a sudden, like one little move on a restart that wasn't needed, it killed any chance I had at getting stage points. But I I get it if it were for some people. Like if you're in the playoffs, like I get it. That's completely fine. But it was moves that some people who weren't in the playoffs were doing, and it ended up costing playoff drivers. If it was like someone else that was below the cut line, I would get it. Like I would understand how they feel about it because I wouldn't want to be, getting messed up from someone else, especially not in postseason contention. But I did talk to that individual about it. We're all good. Um, just hopefully it just kind of settles things down for the next few weeks because especially now with this weekend with a lot of people, focusing on just trying to advance, one of my teammates included, I will not be shocked if this race gets determined by someone doing something really aggressive.
Very well could be, especially you have to, especially for the winner, go home. We see it. You might have a no tire stop with 10 to go, and blocking their asses off for trying to keep that lead and points position. You never know. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, I really enjoyed Lime Rock. It's a short little road course. Probably long. It's probably the same length as a Indy, but it's still multiple turns more than Indy. But I enjoyed it. It's a nice little niche track, designed for trucks and ARCA cars. So we'll definitely go back there. Probably will not be a playoff race. I don't think we're gonna have any road courses in the playoffs next season from our decision. So it would definitely be in the regular season. It'll be a nice little change of pace in the regular season. But very good. EXO had it until 2 turns to go, and he ran out of gas, and Pumps took advantage and took that W, took that checkered flag. Mr. Controversy last week took away, took that over, got back to his truck, and took a victory. Earned his points to get into the next round. Earned some more playoff points to help him in the next round. So shout out Pumps, he earned it, even though EXO ran out of gas with 2 turns to go. And now I wouldn't say choked. I would say choked away because everybody warned him with 10 to go. Like you better watch your gas. And he claims that he didn't need it, and evidently he did because he missed it with 2 turns. But Brandon, what's your experience like at Lime Rock? And did you expect a good race from the Truck Series?
I've run it in ARCA before, and based on what we get, I think it's a lot better than what we have in Cup. To be honest, just
Oh,
the
really?
cars in general. I like how the lower series handle on road courses. I just hate how Cup runs on road courses. They just feel
Yeah, I
terrible.
agree. Yeah.
And ARCA and trucks, they feel so good. I'm slower on road courses, obviously, but I knew going into the race that Pumps is going to be quick, and I'm happy he was able to deliver. We knew in general that it was going to be a little bit of a fuel saver. I didn't think he was going to make it because he didn't start saving fuel until like 10 to go or like
Oh, wow.
15 to go. Like he didn't save at all, but he started saving at the end. That's why you saw him starting to pull away from him because Exit was still pushing, but he Pumps was saving, and he made sure he was good on fuel, and him able to get this win, it really brings up his confidence again, because number one thing that's been happening the last few weeks, obviously with the news about that situation and that happening, has really dwindled his confidence, and now that he finally got a win, I think he's going to be hot going into the next round of the playoffs. Obviously, it locks him in. I'm happy for him, and I hope for HVM's sake, we get Lefty winning this week. So yeah.
True. Yep. He's on a win or go home basis. I do believe. Oh, not really win or go home.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
you're 10
Lefty's in the
points out.
yeah. Lefty's
Yeah,
good. I
he's
just
like
want
10
him to
points
win.
out. Yeah. I mean, it's not a like they're 10 points back. I do believe. I posted the picture today on Twitter. I think Holy's 11 points back and Lefty's 10 points back if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Lefty's in. Maybe I'm thinking somebody else who's
I
outside and
think you're
not
thinking
Lefty.
of
But
Juice.
Juice is Juice the one that left out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Holy and Juice are the ones left out there. But anything can happen on a New Hampshire Speedway. But yeah, very good racing overall this week. Road courses can be a tricky situation, but great races, all three of them. I'm very proud of the league in general, and ready to move on to the final races of the whatever round they're going in, because I know Premier and NXT are in the round of 12, and
Round
trucks
of
are in the round of
6.
10, going
They're
into
going
the
to
round
round
of
of 6
6.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So it's gonna be interesting. We got one podcast question tonight. I do believe it's a centered question by the same person who's gonna be brought up here.
I refuse
So
to answer.
he's gonna.
This
um,
is like why? So dumb.
what does Stein 9 do differently that the rest of the field to be top of the points when he seems to usually have the 7th place speed? To me, it's consistency of handling. He can get a short run car into a long run car. He puts the effort into practice weekly. Even though he complains about the track and he hates the track on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but then he gets what he needs to by Saturday and Sunday, and then goes into Monday, and with a better attitude and more confidence, and usually that's what brings him into a top 3 situation, top 2, and that's why he's leading points, in my opinion. I mean, it's simple as that. It's putting the time and effort into it. The game has you having to put the time and effort in. You can't just show up and be good. Some people, have the God-given ability on video game racing to be great and show up. You're still gonna have your mistakes if you don't put the time and effort into it, especially if you don't practice short runs, long runs, a whole fuel run, pitting, pit exit. Everything's gonna come up in a race, so you gotta practice everything. There's a lot of issues. We've had issues, people coming out of pit road spinning, coming into pit road spinning, and it really costs you points on a time where points is needed. You can't have, stuff that can't happen. So it's gonna, Stein doesn't do that. That's why he's leading points. He was rookie of the year, and highlight last season, and Heat 5 ended. Came in this season. Him and Parker were, coming into a full season and see what they got. I know Stein was has took into the game better than Parker for the most part, but Parker got his win in Chicago, is getting better and better at this game, and Stein just has a good finishing, closing mentality, in my opinion. But if anybody else has a different opinion, go right ahead.
Well,
I think Cobra would disagree with that question.
Oh yeah.
What did Cobra? Did Cobra say anything?
No, but let's just say that Cobra had a little bit of help on Monday's race.
That's true.
Yeah,
Windy
Stein did
windy cars don't go. Windy cars don't mix together. They try to be one car instead of 2 cars, and it resulted in Stein. Okay. Hey yo, pause. But it was he's a great driver, so no, I'm not gonna give him his flowers so much, but he knows how good he is. But yep, thank you for the question this week, and it's gonna be very interesting. But let's move on to our previews here. We'll start with NXT this week because they're the one going to a different track. They're going to Gateway. We saw what Gateway brought for
Oh
Premier
Lord.
earlier in the season. I enjoyed the race itself. What do you expect to happen here, Brent, on this Gateway? It was difficult to pass, but if you took your time and let other people make mistakes and use their tires up more than you did, you were able to benefit it in the long run. So what's your input going in for these NXT drivers, and do you have any help for them to go into this race?
Unfortunately, you said the one word that sometimes they don't have is patience. Um, and for Gateway to work at all, and I'm saying this with utmost respect, you have to be patient as hell. And even then, some people can make it work. I couldn't
Yep.
make it work, but you run the outside lane. You pray that
Mhm.
someone hits the wall in front of you and you avoid it and you don't hit them and you try to capitalize on it. So
Mhm.
what I couldn't expect, I think for our Gateway race overall it was early in the season, so I think we've learned a ton since then. But I expect a lot of stack ups, maybe some
Mhm.
cautions every now and then because people not checking up. But I think it'll be a decent race. I don't think they'll do too terribly bad. I know they've had bad races, but Gateway in general, I think it will spread out. I think we'll have a few
Yeah.
people make a few mistakes in the wall. It'll spread out. I don't expect too bad of a race. Gateway is just one lane dominant. You can make the bottom work somewhat in 3 and 4. It's just you can't really pass on the bottom.
Mhm.
Uh, It's not like I don't know how to explain it other than that. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
can
a
see the
track
point.
for sure.
It's a track for sure. We'll be interested to see Hendrick if anybody pulls the Insolable. If we have a late race restart, we only had one
Oh yeah, that
late race
worked.
restart this whole season premiere, and that was at Gateway. So it interests to see if NXT has a late race restart here. Insolable, I think he took 2 tires. He can confirm on the background if he remembers. I think he took 2 tires and enough fuel. Restarted outside pole with 3 to go, 4 to go. Held on to it, and I think he got a top 3 finish out of it. So do you see NXT maybe having a little cautions at the end here, and somebody taking that 2 tire strategy?
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
Yep. What's your experience like on the Gateway? Were you able to? I don't remember if you were able to race the Premier Gateway race, or do you have any recollection of how that drives and what the NXT drivers could expect there?
Um, I mean, I remember a little bit of it. I mean, obviously, I think, turns 1 and 2, I think is where a lot of the calamity is going to happen. Just with like the sudden, strictness of braking entering in 1.
Hmm.
And then 2, it's like the exact opposite. It's instead of you having to like feel like your car is tight, you're going to be feeling like your car is super loose because you're going to be sliding off the corner. And that usually causes a lot of incidents, and it did in the Premier race for sure. I mean, if I remember correctly, there was at least one crash for every lap during that last restart because people just couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah. To be very nice, I expect NXT to be on their best behavior. We had one bad race in a 2 month span, and that was Darlington. So I gave them a free pass for that one. This is their first real short track since the regular season ended, and this is where their issues were in the Xfinity cars. They're gonna go back to Xfinity cars next season. The Cup cars are a little forgiving, um, and I expect them to have a good show. I expect NLS to be great. I forgot NLS is not
Uh,
racing. NLS is not
yeah.
racing. But Tyreek's gonna be a good contender. Surprise contender could Iron Man. I think will be fine there. His teammate is the surprise I was talking about. I think T Stone could be a very good surprise from what I hear. He's a must. I think he's actually in a must win. With the NXT being so spread out points wise compared to drugs. Um, so very interesting to see how he does, and it could anything can happen. We won't have an impact there. So like Andy will be another factor. Irish, obviously. So it's gonna be very interesting. Gateway should put on a good show. Nonetheless, it's gonna have like a nice little restart with a couple to go, and somebody could play the strategy game and see what happens. But I'm excited for it. I look forward to NXT races more now than I did in the beginning of the season. So it should be looking forward. I know it's a final race of the round, but let's see what they bring. Put the practice in, do what they can to advance, and see what happens. But we'll move on to the combined preview for New Hampshire here. Trucks Premier, both going New Hampshire. It's a weekend for them too. Them two going to the same track. What do we expect here? I expect loose cars, loose trucks, throttle control, patience, calamity, cars going around to the inside wall on the backstretch, and dodging people when they can keep the trucks and
Missiles.
cars safe. What do you expect to happen, Bren? I know you're in a must-win type situation here. What's your expectations going into this New Hampshire and the Cup cars?
Honestly, more worried about other people. I got something figured out now, to the point to where I feel somewhat comfortable on the gas and throttle at the track.
Okay.
So I figured out something. Is just how many laps can people go on default without losing it? That's gonna be the real question when the first caution comes out. If it goes green, I certainly think this will be an interesting race. Obviously, as the cars go along in the long run, the fuel, tires, you get free, get loose. It's gonna be fun. The main thing that I haven't got down yet is the passing zone. Just like majority of the tracks on this game. I'm not gonna spoil for anyone who hasn't practiced, but get ready to have fun. Just expect a lot of mistakes, but up front, it's gonna be a show. I can just tell you that right now. Lots of people are gonna get in free, but if you're able to hold on to it, it's gonna be fun as crap.
I think so too. I think tire wear is going to come into a factor. You might have a little fuel mileage here and there, depending on cautions and how they lay out. I think first stage you might save a lap or two if it goes green, but letting off and saving that car might help you save even more. So I wouldn't worry about that. And I agree with you. I think tire wear always brings in passing opportunities. It always brings in racing, I do believe, finding when to pass somebody, saving the tire, when to pass them in the long run, that type of stuff. So it should be very fun. I think the top two races of the week will definitely be trucks and Premier. I know they've been like that though most of the season, but tire was definitely going to be. Hendrick, what are you looking forward to in the trucks at New Hampshire, and have you gotten a feel of it for it yet?
I haven't gotten a test there as of lately, but I do remember the last time I was there, I wasn't that bad. Like I was running on pace with some people that were even in the Premier Series. So if that holds true, then I feel like this isn't a track that I'm going to struggle at.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're going to be a good person to watch here. I think it suits to your ability of throttle control and finding your pace and not being very over aggressive. And I think you'll be just fine up there. And we got Holy up there. Being a strategy king. I know he's talked to y'all about being strategy and what he can do because he's on the outside looking in and what he can do differently to try to get his best to get in the next round. Um, who's your? But let's talk picks now. Let's talk picks. We'll start with the trucks now. Um, we're going to New Hampshire. Who y'all got to pick? I'll start with Bryn. Who you got picking this race, Bryn? Final round, going into the round of 6. Who do you got to uh this tough loose New Hampshire track?
For the truck series, I'm gonna go with old reliable. He's always been good at these type of short track races. I feel like this season he's been pretty dominant. I'm going with Lefty. I have a lot of confidence in him, especially at these short tracks. He's figured out something in these trucks. Something that he's reliable. He has good speed at these type of racetracks, and if he qualifies up front, I think he'll stay there. My dark horse this week, I'm gonna go with Let me check the playoff standings real quick. I need to see if anyone surprising is below the cutoff line. Um, All right. I mean, I could see Juice Box maybe if he runs, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he's been running races. Did he miss last
He
week?
raced. He just missed last week. He raced the week before.
I was gonna say that's the only reason he's really below the cutoff line. But again,
Yeah.
I could see Juice Box as my dark horse because he's a playoff guy. I'm picking playoff guys as my main
Yeah.
picks this week because I feel like they're gonna be the ones going for it. I could see a non-playoff guy, but I don't think they're gonna win.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going with Lefty as my main, and then dark horse is Juice.
Okay. How about you, Hendrik? Who do you got for your main pick for New Hampshire Trucks and your dark horse?
I really look back to certain tracks like IRP as a really good reference point. Um, if I really had to pick, I'm going to start with my dark horse. I'm going to go with Holy. Based on what I've seen from him in recent races, he's really wanting to rely more so on factors like pit strategy, and New Hampshire could definitely be one that presents it.
Okay.
And then for my primary pick, I it's very hard for me not to pick him because it really feels like he's done well and
Yeah.
he needs to do well right now. I am going to go with Pure Splash as my
Okay. You
primary
took
pick.
my pick. I like that pick. You took my pick, and I agree with that pick. Um, I'm gonna go with the guy who won last week, and I think he can win this week because he has no pressure on himself. I think he can freely be okay and be fine, and I think it suits him as long as he stays off the loose path and keeps the trucks straight. I think he'll be just fine. I'm going pumps for back-to-back pick winner. Um, and my dark horse, I'm gonna go with Georgia Dog. I think Georgia Dog has put the time and effort into it this week to figure out that truck, and I think his new controller settings has benefited him really well for longevity in a run. And usually he falls off when we get into a setup after pitting, and usually falls off after that and never can regain it now. So I think he's finally figured out how to improve those settings and help himself get that car our truck where he wants it to further himself later in the run and get finishes for it. And I think he's gonna try to get that momentum up going into going outside the playoffs now, but get his momentum up going into next season. And I think he's got a good chance at coming away with a nice little victory here. Could be a strategy. He could become a holy and try to do a strategy that last couple laps if we have a late race restart and two tires hold up, new tires. We'll see. But let's move over to NXT here. Insoluble said that he's unable to make any picks tonight due to background noise, so no producer picks this week. But we'll move over to NXT here. Going to Gateway, we talked a little about it. They'll be in the Cup cars as usual the rest of the season. Premier drivers have raced this race before. It's a little short track. It's a little short track, short race as well. What you got? Who you got race? Who you got winning this one, Pendrick?
For this week, I think for my primary, I think a really safe pick would be Banjo.
Okay.
He's got a little bit of points to work with, and now knowing that NLS will not be here this week, that's going to
Okay.
definitely release a lot of tension for him. I think it's going to allow him to, be a little bit more bold with the way he drives this week. And I definitely see him being a contender for a win this week. And then my dark horse pick, I'm going to go with the guy that's first below the cut line. I'm going to go with Lost.
Okay.
I think Lost will get enough points to at least surpass NLS. But I don't know exactly where he will finish in the top 10, but I do think he gets a good run this week.
Gotcha. Who's your first pick again?
Banjo.
Banjo. Thank you. Yeah, I think he's definitely improved this game to a point where I definitely agree with you. I think he's finding the groove, and it's picking up later in the run. And I definitely agree with that. That's a very good pick. How about you, Brand? Who do you got here for your NXT Gateway pick?
Unfortunately, my whole team, besides Nick H, who just recently joined, is not racing this week. I'm not even joking to you.
Then you
Yeah.
can't be a
I can't be a homer.
Yeah, you can't be a homer.
You gotta pick people from other teams, man.
Yeah.
God dang it, man. Who'd you guys pick already? Sorry, I've been
He picked
trying to.
Banjo and lost.
Okay, that makes it easy for me. I'm going with Lyle as my main pick this week.
Okay.
Has
Good
solid
pick.
speed everywhere. Expect him to run well. I know I don't watch NXT as much as I should. It's just I don't really got time on the weekends. And then if I had to go for a dark horse this week, I'm gonna go with. No, dark horse. Got to figure it out. Let's go. Let's go K4 as my dark horse.
Okay, that's not a bad one. That's not a bad one at all.
Next season he
give
won't
it-
be a dark horse.
Yeah, sure. That's the
I'm just
expectation.
telling you.
That's the expectation. But I'm gonna go with Tatahead. I think he can actually do it again. I think he benefits his aggressiveness at these type of tracks, and he loves track position, and he doesn't give up track position. So if he keeps that car straight and finds that groove, I think he can, uh, take that victory again for the for two wins in this round. And my dark horse is going to be his good buddy Tango. Somebody on the outside looking in, trying to fight his way in. He might
I
try
thought
that
about him.
strategy game. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's a very interesting week this week. Well, I think we're underselling how they're gonna have. There's some things you're gonna have to think about strategy wise, and what you have to do to finish these stages strong and race strong, and saving if you have to, saving the tires if you have to. So it's gonna be, you're gonna think about everything. You just can't especially if you can't beat them straight up. You're gonna have to think about what can you get that car to do to get in the top 5, give yourself a chance, and not threaten yourself to go into that next round or miss the next round. So it's gonna be very interesting. All right, let's go over to Premiere. Good old Premiere series, the best of the best over here. Who you got, Hendrick, for Premiere?
So my dark horse, I am definitely gonna go with Romeo. He's been really good throughout these past couple of weeks, especially last week. He proved that he can be a contender to win races again. And I think this carries on into this Monday, and I think that leads to him getting into the next round.
Be very good. Very good story.
And then for my primary pick, I'm kind of shocked he's in this position, but I'm going to go with Sean for life. I'm really curious to see how he races, knowing that he's not towards the top of the points, but he's in a position to where if he doesn't do good tonight or doesn't do good in that race and someone below him wins, it could be the end of his chances. So I think Sean's going to definitely step up his pace, maybe step up the aggression, and I think that he's going to be a contender to win.
I like that pick. It's a very good one. Brandon, how about you? Who's your main pick for New Hampshire Premiere, and who's your dark horse?
I'm making jokes in the general chat right now, but yeah, I'm joking about that. But New Hampshire, throttle control is the key here. I'm gonna look back to Martinsville, and we had one guy who just, out of everyone, just, he even pitted at extra time and was still able to win the race, and he won last week at Coda. So
Yeah.
I think at a track again that is really dependent on throttle control, I think Valley, someone that we brought in mid-season, has been honestly a lot I mean, he demoralized me at Coda when we practiced, and since he was so damn quick. But I think this week New Hampshire, he's really good here. I think he'll be up front. I think he's gonna be the man to chase. And then my dark horse this week, I'm not gonna be a homer. I think I gotta also look. Yeah, I'll go with Shocks.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's a good one.
Shocks, someone who I think did he get eliminated from the
He did.
playoffs?
He got eliminated.
Yeah,
in
he's someone that
Michigan.
I think if he didn't get eliminated at Michigan, I really think he would have came into this playoff run with a lot more aggressiveness, and I think he would have had a shot at it. It's just he got eliminated at Michigan. I feel like he hasn't had, I guess, the mindset to push it, but I feel like at a track like this, he's gonna have the speed. I expect him to be up front.
Yeah, I agree. I think he, so being not having the points to help himself because he came into the season as a full-time driver late, really hurt him. And he's the type of person who doesn't really want to step on anybody's toes while they're racing for something more important than he is right now, even though he's the same right to the track as everybody else, racing for team points. And he gets eaten up alive a little bit because the aggressiveness around him, sort of like a Spartan does too. Spartan likes to be less aggressiveness, and it shows when people are around him, and he gets taken advantage of a lot with that. Yeah, so some people need to be a little more aggressive. He's one of them when it comes to it. I think he'll be a real factor next season, and I think his time right now is to get his bearings under him, get some energy going into next season, and maybe rack up some wins here. So I definitely like that pick. I'm gonna go. Who am I gonna go with here? I'm gonna go Cobra as my main pick. And my dark horse is going to be Whelpding. I think Whelpding's a person. A Cobra speaks for himself when it comes to it. I think he consistent at best. He's scratching and calling for that win, that elusive win that he hasn't been able to get. But I think his mentality is throttle control type of person. I think he's strategy wise, he can do it as well. But Whelpding is a person who he gets a lot of shit because of his team owner propping him up. But he's not a person who does the shit talking or propping himself up. But he deserves the credit he gets because he shows up. Maybe not has the best car. I think he went into Dakota thinking he had the best car. He had a fast car, top 3 car all race. Led probably most of the laps, or at least close to it. And was fine. His tires got a little wasted in that last run and finished third. But he knew what he had to do that day and get points, and I think he's consistently shows. I think he consistently gets better, and when he shows up, he does the best he can, and no complaints out of anybody from him. And I'm pretty happy to see what he goes to. I think he has a great chance of winning this and solidifying himself in the next round, and maybe getting that first victory for him. But that's our picks this week. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening, and it should be a great final race of the round. We're really excited for it. Catch the onboards. I'm sure both. I know Hendrick will be on board. Bren doesn't do onboard because his ghosting issues and his internet issues. But catch those onboards. I know there'll be some onboards. It should be fun to watch. It should be all the races should be fun. Short track tempers, all the glory. Going into next round, fighting for it. It's all or nothing here. Winning or go home. It's figuring out points and going home. It's you got to fight for it. So it should be fun. Shout out Insolvable for producing it as always. Sorry we missed last week. Something came up with Insolvable.
Yeah, the one
so
week
we
I
weren't
ran
able
well.
to-
I ran well at
yeah.
Darlington, That would have been a nice
Yeah.
week to be able to talk about a good week. Kept it clean, got good
What
stage points, but got wrecked in stage 2.
missed the
I
good.
think I think next week's going to be very fun to talk about because we get to talk about Brent potentially getting eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh, that's true. That's gonna be the headline. Brand eliminated. What happens next? No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
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 Wow. Dummy.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Look, there we go. There we go. There-
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody listening. See y'all next week when we review these races and preview the upcoming last plate race of the year in Talladega. That's going to be a ×2 race next week for the first ×2 race of the season. And should be a fun one entering round of 8. And should be a fun one. But everybody, thanks for listening and see y'all next week. And we're out.